This is a show with no particular niche, baby. It's always about hanging out. Maybe we'll laugh at some stuff, maybe we'll learn something new, but it's always about hanging out, me and you. Hi, hello, and welcome to That Thing with James, a podcast about nothing in particular. I'm your host, James, and there is so much dog fur flying all over the place right now. Hey, what's up? I've got some stuff pulled up for today. Today, we're hopping in a time machine and going back in time to learn some funny stuff. Yeah, we're gonna learn and laugh in today's episode. Aren't you excited? I'm excited. Do you like history? You should. It's really fucking interesting. Do you like to laugh? If you don't, what are you doing? What are you doing? What you should be doing is laughing and loving and thinking about your fiduciary responsibilities. We all have fiduciary responsibilities. And unless you're me, you may have some slag. And I'm not talking about that person sleeping on the couch, your aunt who was only going to stay with you for 1 week 4 weeks ago. Not that kind of slag. I'm talking about the slag that comes off of metal when it's really hot and glowing and you start banging on it with a big hammer or one of those hydraulic slammers, and then the dark stuff that comes off it and falls off, that's called slag. Those are impurities, or it could be a word for just, something left over, something unnecessary. And unless you're me, you may have some financial slag. So what can you do with it? Well, I've got the answer. Make don't make a fuck. What's the word I'm trying to think of? Make an irresponsible purchase today. And subscribe to my Patreon, patreon.com/ThatThingWithJames. $5 will get you into the door so you can get 30 days of access to all 120 plus bonus episodes of this show. There's a lot of stuff there, a lot of good stuff, a lot of laughs. Sometimes, hell, I might say, not to drag myself, not to slag myself, not to frag my efforts, but it's not uncommon for me to feel like these free episodes are just warm-ups that get me into the good stuff, which is on patreon.com/ThatThingWithJames. So if you've got some coinage knocking around in your pocket, clink, 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 you got some change, $5, it'll get 30 days of access to over 120 bonus episodes. And to those of you who are already patrons, thank you so much for being a patron. You rock. Patreon.com/ThatThingWithJames. Help support the show. Help support an independent creator. That's, I was going to say you can elaborate from there, but that would be to make an assumption. And if I've learned anything from internet, especially comment sections on internet, to assume truly is to make an ass out of you and me. The most obvious thing is often overlooked on the internet. It's one of those things. It's one of those things where, a person is smart, but people might not understand an obvious joke, and not even an offensive joke here, but just anything silly, like, say, I'm taking pictures, showing pictures of something, and then I add in a picture of my new Hello Kitty slippers that I got, and people are taking it seriously. Like, why is this here? Don't use this. Why would you put that in there? Well, it's clearly a joke. The Hello Kitty slippers have nothing to do with the selection of pictures that I'm, trying to decide to, send to my agent as like my top 10 selection of here's some new pictures of me, unedited, clearly unedited and not cropped. I'm trying to get some new headshots. This is a true story, by the way. I'm trying to get some new headshots. So let's see. This is Sunday, August 10th, at the time of recording, 2025. 7 days ago from today, I had a headshot session for the first time in 2 years. My hair is long now. The headshots I've been using, I have very short buzzed hair. And that's because I didn't know I was going to get headshots until, well, basically the day after I buzzed my hair off. And I needed those new headshots so I could start getting work as soon as possible. Post haste, you might say. And so I've been working with those, but I usually don't go for a buzzed haircut. I just did it on a lark because I was hot and the back of my neck was really sweaty. So I buzzed my hair 2 years ago, and then surprise, got headshots. Surprise, you're getting auditions again. And then my hair just continued to grow over the span of 2 years. And did I buzz my hair again? I think I might have buzzed my hair again at some point just to keep up. I didn't want to, but I didn't want my headshots to... This is acting headshots, by the way. I didn't want my headshots with the buzzed hair to misrepresent me. So I buzzed my hair again and said, this is fucking it. I'm growing my hair out. And then hopefully, before my hair gets too long, I will have booked a job that pays enough, if nothing else, to just break even on getting some new headshots for me with longer hair. And that never happened. I had a lot of auditions last year, really. A shit ton of auditions. I think more auditions than I've ever had in a single year, and more callbacks than I think I'd ever had in a single year. But I didn't book any, just the nature of the game. It's how it goes. But because I didn't book any, I didn't make the money. So then I couldn't, so yada, yada, yada. So, I saved up, and I'll be honest, my mom helped me here. My mom helped me get some new headshots. So I did that 7 days ago from now. And it was good. And I've got long hair, so these ones are going to represent me. In these pictures, I have a better idea of who I am, my brand, and that sort of thing. Better than I did 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I was in a really fucking weird place. I wasn't sure if I was going to be acting anymore. I wasn't sure if I was going to be podcasting anymore. I wasn't sure of a lot of things. And if you've been following the show for at least the past 4 or 5 years, you know exactly what I'm talking about. A lot was in flux. A lot had been lost, and I didn't know where I was going to go from there. But I couldn't quit podcasting. I tried, and I couldn't live with it. And I couldn't quit acting. I've tried, and I couldn't live with it. So where was I going with this? Yeah, I got some new headshots, and it was a session. It was a whole 1 hour session with this dude. He's a good dude, Jeff Nicholson of The Shot Photography. I like that guy. He's good at his job, and he's just a good dude to work with. It was a pleasant hour. Anyway, got some headshots, and then I was like, these are really good. I was scared because the first time since I was so fucked up, like on the 2 years ago shoot, I was so fucked up. I kind of came out and I'm like, these are good pictures. The photographer did a good job. I did not really look like me. I mean, literally, I did kind of look like me, but the person present in the image, if you hopefully follow, if you catch my drift, The person in the image wasn't me. They looked like me, except their expression, their energy, that was not me. And I needed some shots that are me, especially since I have found who I am now. And I believe that was achieved in this shoot. The pictures are fan-fucking-tastic. Nick, he goes by Nick, did a great fucking job. And I was scared. I was fucking terrified to look at the whole photo dump. And then I looked at them and I was like, oh my God, these are good. I like these a lot. And I was stoked. I was like, okay, I don't want to like front load my agent with 300 or my selection, my selection of 138 images. So I need to break these down to top 10. So it took me a few days to like come up with the top 10. And I still didn't want to do 10. So I went with 6. And then I posted those on social media and, told people like, hey, I'm trying to decide on 2 because, that's an engaging thing. People like to help. And it makes them feel engaged and it makes them feel good to help. And if you're not in the entertainment world, it's not every day you get to, help an actor pick their headshots. So I presented my top 10 on TikTok and on Instagram. By the way, my socials, the handles for those are in the episode description, right below my Patreon link. I posted them online and I threw in a couple joke images. And Instagram did about what I expected it would do. I got some interaction from people I do definitely value, and those were great suggestions. Not a whole lot happened, though. The Meta programs don't like me because my working hypothesis is, or at this point, I think it might be a theory. My working theory with Meta apps, because I used to be a lot more active on Facebook and Instagram, and it felt yucky over time. And then the news came out, like 6 or 8 years ago or something, that they were basically doing social engineering, specifically negative social engineering, driving engagement through negativity and anger and hate. I'm not making this up. This is an actual study. There's actual like documents they used in-house. That's their game plan. It was, and it still is. And when that came out, it sort of confirmed something I already had a feeling of, like the Facebook and Instagram, the Meta, or what would later become Meta apps, make me feel bad. They make me feel gross, icky, bad, uncomfortable. I don't like the way they make me feel. And then that news came out. The revelation happened. The discovery. And that just confirmed what I was already feeling, that, oh yeah, no, they specifically want users to feel bad. And so I don't give them, I don't interact with them nearly as much as I used to. And when I do, and I've tried dipping my toes back in to be more active on it, and I don't get a lot from it. They don't disseminate from people that it should disseminate to. People in my network that I've, been connected to for over a decade. I don't let Meta manipulate me. And I think it can tell. So it doesn't, boost my stuff. Anywho, TikTok, however, blew up, and it's still blowing up. Every time I open the fucking app, I've got over 100 notifications. Whatever. And, people, I was looking for consistency. I'm looking for patterns in the photos they selected to, help me decide my top 10. And there was no consistency. And there were some that just, a lot that I just didn't agree with. But that helped me decide what I thought was right. So then I sent that on to the agent, and then he was like, hey, can you send me like let me see the whole thing. I want to make sure we're not missing anything. So I ended up sending him the whole thing. But at least I didn't overload him up front. What does this have to do with anything I'm talking about in today's episode? Well, I guess I'm already talking about something. But it's not the thing I wanted to talk about. Well, it's not the topics that I have loaded up here. I've got 2 topics. I'm already at the 15-minute mark here. I've got 2 topics pulled up. I'm going to unveil them because maybe we're not going to get to the second topic, but we're going to get to the first topic. We're getting into naughty jokes in Shakespearean witticisms. Yes, Shakespeare jokes that he put in his own plays. The first time I ever even knew Shakespeare had jokes was my freshman year in college, where one of my professors said, if something seems like it might be a dick joke in Shakespeare, even in the tragedies, if something seems like it might be a dick joke, it is. So we're going to read some Shakespearean dick jokes after I get a sip of water. Be right back. The name Shakespeare itself is a dick joke. I mean, come on. Shakespeare, wagging your whacker, your tallywhacker. By the way, this is going to be an NSFW episode, like most of my episodes are. So if you're listening to this at work, make sure it's okay with your coworkers, or if not, put on some headphones. Anyway, here's the thing I found. This article is titled "Shakespeare's Filthy Sense of Humor," written by Joe Imbruglia, published to medium.com on April 29th, 2019. Here we go. Shakespeare was hands down the master of dirty jokes and insults in Elizabethan England. Unfortunately, a lot of his witticisms and insults are lost on modern ears. For instance, the play Much Ado About Nothing literally means a big fuss about vaginas. Much ado means to make a big fuss out of something, and back then, nothing was literally no thing, meaning no penis, therefore a vagina. So if you understand a little bit about how English worked during Shakespeare's time, his plays become hilarious. Not only was Shakespeare the world's greatest literary genius, but he had a super crude sense of humor. So let me give you some of my favorite dirty jokes and insults from Shakespeare's plays. This is about to get very NSFW. Also, I want to preface, there was a vowel shift in the late 1600s or something, so a lot of the stuff that, like, how does this fucking rhyme? I mean, beyond meanings and innuendos and just codes in his plays, the pronunciation of words themselves is vastly different, like including vowels. So that's why some of the stuff is sort of janky if you just read it in our modern pronunciation, even if you employ an English accent. That's because back in the late 1500s, it did rhyme with the way they were pronounced. Also, the posh English accent of today didn't exist. There are scholars who try to discern what Elizabethan English sounded like, what the accent was like, and the closest, honestly, American accents, specifically sort of like around Virginia and Georgia, so sort of like southeastern-ish, American accents are a bit closer to Elizabethan English accents. Hard R's. It almost sounded kind of like pirates a little bit, like a Southerner pirate kind of a thing. And I know Western England also has, they pronounce their R's So that might be a bit closer, like the farmland English is a bit closer to that older accent. So, anyway, with no further ado, let's jump into the dirty jokes section. We start with Twelfth Night, Act 2, Scene 5. Malvolio says, "By my life, this is my lady's hand. These be her very C's, her U's, and her T's, and thus makes she her great P's." Let's read that again, see if you can catch it. By my life, this is my lady's hand. These be her very C's, her U's, and her T's, and thus she makes her great P's. C, U, T, P, Malvolio receives an unsigned letter from who he thinks is Olivia, his boss. He is saying that he thinks it's from Olivia because the C's, the U's, the N's, and the T's, see where I'm going, look like her handwriting, and that when she writes, her P's look very nice. What he is also doing is spelling the word cunt and saying that she uses that to have a great P. This would have had audiences rolling on the floor at the Globe. Onward, Hamlet, Act 2, Scene 2. Hamlet is talking to Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. Hamlet, "My excellent good friends, how dost thou, Guildenstern? Ah, Rosencrantz, good lads, how do ye both?" Rosencrantz, "As the indifferent children of the earth." Guildenstern, "Happy in that we are not over happy. On fortune's cap, we are not the very button." Hamlet, "Nor the soles of her shoe?" "Neither, my lord." "Then live you about her waist, or in the middle of her favors?" "Faith, her privates we." "In the secret parts of fortune?" Let's read that again, see if you can catch it. "My excellent good friends, how dost thou, Guildenstern? Ah, Rosencrantz, good lads, how do ye both?" "As the indifferent children of the earth. Happy in that we are not over happy. On fortune's cap, we are not the very button." "Nor the soles of her shoe?" "Neither, my lord." "Then live you about her waist, or in the middle of her favors?" "Faith, her privates we." "In the secret parts of fortune?" Hamlet has just run into Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, and he is asking them how they are. They say that they are not at the height of their fortunes currently. Hamlet then asks if they are really down on their luck, to which they reply no as well. Hamlet goes on to inquire if they live about fortune's waist or in the middle of her favors. Here, favors means vagina. To which Guildenstern jokingly replies positively, and Hamlet ends by asking if they are really in Fortune's vagina. This conversation is likely implying Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are having sex with Fortune, but it could also be seen to imply cunnilingus. Just some normal Elizabethan dude talk going on here. Hamlet, Act 3, Scene 2. Hamlet speaks with Ophelia. No, I'll say that when we get to the breakdown. Hamlet, "Lady, shall I lie in your lap?" Ophelia, "No, my lord." "I mean my head upon your lap." "Aye, my lord." "Do you think I meant country matters?" "I think nothing, my lord." "That's a fair thought, to lie between maids' legs." "What is, my lord?" "Nothing." Let's read it again. "Lady, shall I lie in your lap?" "No, my lord." "I mean my head upon your lap." "Aye, my lord." "Do you think I meant country matters?" "I think nothing, my lord." That's a fair thought, to lie between maids' legs." "What is, my lord?" "Nothing." Hamlet first asking Ophelia to lie in her lap is taken by Ophelia. Wait. Hamlet first asking Ophelia to lie in her lap is taken by Ophelia as an offer for sex, which it most certainly is, to which Hamlet quickly replies that he just wants to lay his head in her lap. He then goes on to ask if she thought he meant country matters. Country, here being a play on the word cunt, one of Shakespeare's favorites. Also, one of my favorite jokes was one of a different professor I had. One of his favorite jokes was putting the O back in country. Ophelia says she thinks nothing, no thing, which is, again, Elizabethan slang for vagina. But being a young girl of 13, not necessarily, and I'll say on that after this, being a young girl of 13, she would likely not have known this and been using its intended meaning of nothing, no thing. Hamlet says that nothing, or a penis, is fair enough to lie between a girl's legs, to which Ophelia basically replies, "What are you talking about?" And Hamlet says, "Nothing," him meaning a vagina. But Ophelia likely taking the statement as, "Oh, don't worry about it." So here the author says Ophelia's 13. I had to do some digging on this. Was she? There's really not a lot of express age here on how old Ophelia and Hamlet are. There is a reference, I think it was in the graveyard, that Hamlet's 13, but allegedly, purportedly, it is potential. That number 30, that age 30, was added in later just to cover for the fact of, Richard Burbage was playing Hamlet, and he was in his 30s, I believe. So the character Hamlet, though, a lot of people, the consensus seems to be that both Hamlet and Ophelia are most likely in their late teens, more likely in their 20s, somewhere in their early to mid 20s. And frankly, the way Hamlet's acting and everything, I believe does imply he's acting like someone in their teens to early 20s. I believe so. Anyway, I'm getting thirsty. I'm getting the NPR mouth. So I'm going to take a sip of water and then we'll continue. Just a second. Othello, Act 1, Scene 1, Iago. Who's me? I'm Iago. Not the character, just that's my name, James. Iago is James. Iago is a derivative from Diego, which is a derivative from Jacob. So Diego, James comes from Jacob, or before that, Jacobus, then become Diacob, Jacob, James, or Diago, Iago, right? So Iago, Diego, James, Jacob, Jacobus. Yeah, there's some name origins for you. Iago in Othello, Act 1, Scene 1. I am one, sir, that comes to tell you that I'm adding words to Shakespeare. That's a no-no. I am one, sir, that comes to tell you your daughter and the Moor are now making the beast with two backs. This one doesn't even need explaining. This is also where the term beast with two backs was first used in literature and is widely believed to have been coined or at least popularized by Shakespeare. I am one, sir, that comes to tell you your daughter and the Moor are now making the beast with two backs. Onward to A Midsummer Night's Dream, Act 5, Scene 1. Pyramus speaks with Thisbe. Pyramus. Oh, kiss me through the hole in this vile wall. I was in A Midsummer Night's Dream, by the way. I was, Jesus Christ. I was the thunder god. What was his name? The fuck was his name? I'm having a brain fart. Pyramus. Oh, kiss me through the hole of this vile wall. Thisbe. I kiss the walls whole, not your lips at all. Let's read it again. Oh, kiss me through the hole of this vile wall. I kiss the walls whole, not your lips at all. In this scene, the characters are actually putting on their own play within A Midsummer Night's Dream, where the two characters are playing the lovers Pyramus and Thisbe, while a third character is playing the wall. Pyramus is asking for a kiss through the wall, and Thisbe is saying that the hole, or the actor's anus, is too deep and she wouldn't be able to reach Pyramus. What the fuck was starts with an Midsummer Night's Dream. Oberon. I knew it started with an O. Yeah, I played Oberon. Yeah, I'm not going to say anything about that production. I played Oberon. Okay, onward. Much Ado About Nothing. Act 5. Much Ado About No Thing. Act 5, Scene 2. I will live in thy heart, die in thy lap, and be buried in thy eyes. I will live in thy heart, die in thy lap, and be buried in thy eyes. Benedict is talking to his lover Beatrice about his true love for her, but he also manages to slyly slip in a dirty quip. Back in Shakespeare's day, to die was slang for orgasm or ejaculation. So he's basically telling Beatrice he wants to ejaculate in her lap. Also, the French term, la petite mort, that's their word for orgasm, the little death, to die, la petite mort, la petite mort, la petite mort, I will live in die in thy heart, I will live in thy heart, die in thy lap, and be buried in thy eyes. Onward to insults, the comedy of errors. This one gets a little quick. From the comedy errors. Thou whoreson, senseless villain. Thou whoreson, senseless villain. Basically a your mom jest. Whoreson. If you've played the Witcher games, then you know about whoreson and cunny. And there's a lot of good antiquated language in there that's fun. Whoreson, cunny. Here's another one. He is deformed, crooked, old and sere, ill-faced, worst-bodied, shapeless everywhere, vicious, ungentle, foolish, blunt, unkind, stigmatical in making, worse in mind. Oh my God, that flows so well, I gotta read it again. He is deformed, crooked, old and sere, ill-faced, worst-bodied, shapeless everywhere, vicious, ungentle, foolish, blunt, unkind, stigmatical in making, worse in mind. Above we have what Shakespeare was the master of. Super long-winded insults full of great new ways to tell people off. 1. Henry IV. Splud, you starveling, you elfskin, you dried neat's tongue, you bull's pizzle, you stockfish. Oh, for breath to utter what is like thee, you tailor's yard, you sheath, you bowcase, you vile standing tuck. Gotta read it again, it's so good. Splud, you starveling, you elfskin, you dried neat's tongue, you bull's pizzle, you stockfish. Oh, for breath to utter what is like thee, you tailor's yard, you sheath, you bowcase, you vile standing tuck. Pizzle, again. That's from Kingdom Come. Are you yanking my pizzle? That's penis. Another great, super long telling off. 3. Henry VI. Thou misshapen dick. No explanation necessary. Much Ado About No Thing. I wonder that you will still be talking. Nobody marks you. Basically, shut the hell up. I wonder that you will still be talking. Nobody marks you. Like, are you still talking? You'll be talking when no one's left in the room. Why are you still talking? Richard III. Thou unfit for any place but hell. Thou unfit for any place but hell, go to hell. Troilus and Cressida. Thou bitch wolf's son, your mom. Well, for brevity's sake, I will end it here, and there are so many more insults and dirty jokes, though I could literally write about them for days. I hope you enjoyed my overview of the filthy mouth of Shakespeare, and I hope now you can get more of a laugh out of the works of the Bard. And on that note, we're going to end this episode. I'm going to save the second one for the bonus episode. I've got pulled up the funniest events in history. Yeah, so if you want to catch them, become a patron at patreon.com/ThatThingWithJames. For now, thanks for tuning in. Hope to catch you next time. Bye!